Today we're heading for the Bungal State Forest just to the west of Melbourne. A very small area of Australian native bushland.
Oh, she's close.
Simon, I'm very nervous.
We've got ourselves into a spot of bother. Today we're heading for the Bungal State Forest. Behind me is Mike in the Ranger, Gerry in the LDV, Pete in the D-Max, Grant in the Hilux, and in the hot seat next to me is Max from Austrac. Guys, we're just a few kilometres from the Bungal State Forest, a very small area of Australian native bushland. It's also called the Whipstick Scrub. We've got a few tracks in there we'll have a crack at. There's nothing really hard, but we'll find a little bit of challenge. And I think there's some mud that Pete's going to have a crack at.
Okay.
What do you reckon?
I'm keen, I'm up for it.
All right guys, let's get into it.
Just left our tyre pressures down, looking good for the morning.
Back in Bungal. Here we go again. We've got some tight tracks up ahead of us, I believe. Hopefully we'll do a bit of winching. Somebody's going to get stuck and there's going to be a lot of controversy and something to talk about.
Yeah, it's that awesome feeling when you leave the concrete jungle and into the state forests.
We're just coming down the track, down the hill, and I've noticed my brakes are not engaging properly. I think it could be a tow truck job, but I'll give the bog hole a miss and see how we go.
Coming up to the first big bog hole, there were 3 or 4 different lines.
Grant had a stick and he's poking on one side. We were trying to figure out which was the better way to go through. One side looked like it was going to be the deep, nasty one, and the other one looked better. It was completely the reverse.
Vehicle in low range. Tyres down at 20 psi, centre diff lock on, rear diff lock on, and we're towing a caravan. Mud ahead, let's give it a crack. She looks a bit soft. Oh, not too deep, that's a hard base. All right, Pete, looks like you're going for the left-hand mud hole.
Isn't it amazing? The biggest vehicle we have here, and it took the smallest bog hole. Like, just incredible.
The one that looked shallower was the one that was actually deep. And that's the one I went through first. Okay, well, we're going to give this mud hole a crack. No one else's game, so it looks like I'm it. Too easy.
Car retired for the day, and the worst part of my life is about to start. I'm getting into the car with Gerry.
The first real mud hole. So got through it all right, but when it came out the other end, noticed it would pop the boot a little bit. we had enough air in it still so we could actually get an air hose on it and pump it back up, pop it out and keep going.
And one of the things I love most about camper trailers is that you can unhitch them at the campsite and then off you go forward driving.
Go wherever you want.
We're just pulling up on the campsite now, guys. We're going to unhitch the caravan and then we're ready to go. And I reckon that's going to do us.
Ready to get set up.
Let's unhook.
The Tanami 13 is a 2-person sleeper, full independent suspension, full Dometic kitchen, 3-burner stove, all plumbed into gas. You've got aircon, electric step, an electric awning, 240 litres of water on board. You'll also have a nice inner spring king bed. While we were setting up in style, Mike and Gerry ran into a bit of trouble.
In the great search for phone service, a couple of the guys have headed back up the road to see if they can get a phone call done. And guess what? They've gone and got themselves stuck in one of those bog holes. So our first recovery for the day, let's go and get into it. Wow, the guys have taken the chicken truck and got themselves stuck.
Well, the rest of the boys have taken off. There's a bit of a recovery situation going on back there. But in the meantime, I've got bored and spotted this hill. I think we might give it a crack. When we got into the campsite, I was eyeing off this hill and it was quite steep and looked quite enticing. Simon wasn't keen on us doing that sort of thing. As soon as Simon was gone, I thought, oh, here's my chance. That side's slippery.
I think in dry conditions you would have a problem getting up there, but so much moisture around and very slippery and clay soil. Got 2/3 of the way up and he was going no further.
Oh well, gave it a crack.
With Pete busy backing down a hill and Mike and Gerry's failed attempt to find phone service, I took on the task myself to get out and make the call for help. We've got ourselves into a spot of bother, and it's good to know that you've got mates that you can call on for help. When it comes to salvage, there's nobody better than Edge 24/7, off-road 4x4 salvage recovery. These guys do it all 24/7.
Edge Recovery.
Hey Ben, Simon Christie.
Tell us what's been going on.
We've got a Ford Ranger that's got a few difficulties and probably needs a flat pack or trailer out of the bush.
We can definitely help you out with that. Just send me a drop into the location and we'll be on the road within the hour.
How easy is that? Help is on the way. We'll get this vehicle out of here quick, smart and safely. See what else the Bungal State Forest has in store. Mike, your lucky day.
Why is that?
Carl and Ben from Edge 24/7 are on their way.
Awesome. Just contacting the boys from Edge 24/7, see if we can get it back to mechanic, check out what's wrong.
With Edge 24/7 on their way, we could spend the arvo chilling at camp, or we could hit some tracks, and that's exactly what we did. Might want low range for this section. There's a nasty off-camber rut I'm coming up to. Looks like fun.
Definitely a little bit more water in that one for you, Pete.
What's in the back of the seat?
He's got a massage in it.
The power in, Gerry!
We're going, we're there.
Hard left splash, into splash, keep the power in. We're there.
So what do you think of that?
Easy.
I wanted a challenge, but that's probably too much of a challenge.
All right guys, this hill here, we're gonna go this way. I'm pretty impressed we found a river crossing here.
Yeah, more like a puddle crossing.
It's not so deep.
There was one particular area where we dropped down There was a sort of a sharp right turn with a creek crossing.
Ooh, this is a bit steep and a bit tricky. Very quite a narrow breach. Ooh. Okay.
Simon, I'm very nervous. There's a button on the dash in the LDV and it says press here for airbag.
You'll be right, Mike. Gerry, have you got a snorkel fitted?
Yes, I have, Simon. I've got an airflow snorkel, specifically for this vehicle.
We came to a nice climb, a lot of dry rock, very jagged edges, very bumpy, very narrow, a lot of trees.
This one's going to be tight.
The trees were so close, and I was following Simon through it. I could not believe he got through with his Iveco.
Man, have a look at the bark off these trees. It is tight.
Very tight, but you're getting there.
Hitting the trees, knocking the windows in, rolling back I think a few times.
We're on that tree. And we're clear. That's tight.
This was very, very tight, and I was worried about it with the D-Max.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Road Safe. Dun, 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 dun.
Picking your way up this rocky hill climb and bits all over the place to make it interesting and more challenging was quite good.
Been through a lot of mud holes, a lot of water. Now we've come up to a really steep section. Totally different terrain, a lot of rocks. Took it very easy, very cautious. At the top of this ridge there are some really, really tight sections. Simon can get through, should have a problem. You can see a lot of rub marks in the trees where the guys had miscalculated.
Right, nervous. Low hanging branch, yeah. Easy, slowly. Okay. Oh, watch your side steps there.
Bit narrow between some of the trees, but at the end of the day it was pretty straightforward.
Coloured paddocks that you have over there?
Well, there's something wrong, I'm sure of it.
Good fun breaking cars. I'm just happy it's not mine.
Today we had an incident where we had to recover the camera car using a road safe alloy recovery hitch and a soft shackle. Now the soft shackle is a very interesting piece of kit. It's very easy to use and it's that fast to join it. So it's just, that's it, it's done. The soft shackle is a versatile piece of equipment. It's functional, and you'll see that pretty much every car here has one on the back of their alloy road safe recovery hitch.
Here we go, going back down again.
Loose rock, steep descent. Only way to do is take it easy.
Hello, Mum. Yeah, help me, Mum. Send someone.
What a ripper little hill.
Yeah.
When we came back, we came down across the river here, and the hill just behind us here was a bit slippery on the way up. Just watching what the others did, had to probably give it a little bit more to make sure that we got traction and were able to get all the way up without having to slide back. In the end, we did it pretty good. As we were heading out up the track again, some sort of a fuel issue.
What we've got is, there's a warning light on the engine's stalling in reverse, which is really strange for an automatic. Fingers crossed we'll get the AutoFix scan gauge onto it and see what codes come up. One of the good things I like about the AutoFix is that instead of just giving you the number, it actually tells you fuel pressure regulator. With the AutoFix pulling a fuel related code, we got to work on solving a couple of possible issues. First up, we checked that the fuel filters had fuel and weren't clogged. Secondly, and in the case of a faulty fuel gauge, we snuck an extra 20 litres of diesel into the tank for good measure. From there, it was fingers crossed that we could clear the code and get the vehicle running again. Emission-related diagnostic information has been cleared. That's a win.
See, Simon, how much of a game changer it is having these auto fixes inside in the car. This is exactly what you need for these types of situations. Without these, you're screwed. Oh, she started.
Something different for you, Gerry?
Looking out to the right, there's a lot of timber lying down.
The area's obviously been planted with pine, so very thick forests, been harvested. A lot of logs, a lot of stumps, took things very carefully.
Hell, this looks tight.
And there goes that GoPro on the back. Watch. Oh, Jesus.
It's a little bit tight through there.
For you it was.
We had came to a log across the track. The log was on 45-degree angle and it was wet and slippery.
Go back hard again. Oh, excuse the French.
He's just skidding on that log.
As much as I tried to bump over it, the front tyre was just hitting it and it was just sliding me down the log, heading towards a tree.
Oh! Whoa! Whoa!
We snapped the log.
No, we hit a tree.
You nearly knocked that tree.
Hit the accelerator a little bit too hard and ended up doing some damage to the rear bumper.
Mike put another log in front of that, which gave it an edge for it to catch, and then you could get the front wheel over and get through. Right, coming up to my turn. This is a bit of a tricky one. I'll go a little bit right, I think, and attack it more square on.
No. Yeah. A little bit of a tap, that's it, you're over.
Yep, easy. That was easy.
Always a pioneer. Not the others.
See, Simon's got the tread boards out, so hopefully it makes a difference.
We pulled out one of the treads. We probably should have done that the first place.
That's it. See your face? I can see you. Hey, come on.
Walk.
There was a magnificent view off to the right where the forest had been cleared.
It's a little bit different, Grant.
It looks like they've been practicing for next month's National Chainsaw Championships.
And it doesn't look like it gets a huge amount of traffic through here. Maybe even that tree that's down in front of you at the moment might be preventing some of that.
Yeah, I'm going to get the axe out and clear this.
Oh, that stinks. That mud's bad.
That one there's going to stink.
It is going to stink. Could have.
If you're ever stuck, that's a recovery machine.
We got a phone call a few hours ago of a car that needs to be towed to the mechanic. We're an off-road recovery business. This is a 1986 Mercedes Unimog, ex-Australian Defence Force. They're running the 46-inch tyres with the double bead locks. We'll find somewhere to turn around, or if we can't, we'd drop the trailer somewhere else and come in with the truck, pull the car out and then load it back up in a more suitable area. We have a 100% success rate. The more challenging the job, the more we like it.
We arrived at our campsite. First thing we did is set up our swags. It's fairly cool out here, plenty of firewood around. Got the fire going.
Wish I'd brought a beer.
So I've heard that Simon's a good host, but he's also meant to be a very good chef.
No, Simon's cooked for me a few times. I lost weight on those occasions, but I'm back to try it again because to keep this figure, it's not all about the gym, it's what you put in.
Between the two front seats of the Iveco, we've got a 30-litre true fridge freezer. Now this here is so handy to access when you're on the road. You can get your drinks, your snacks and your food anytime you need it, and it's the perfect fridge for those smaller spaces.
Nothing better than cooking around the fire, having a beer with mates and getting outdoors.
There's a pretty good spread of different things to do for the day.
It's been great to get out here and it's always an enjoyable day. Wish I brought that beer again.